Woody Hancock. I started working with marine fisheries back in 1964 and worked 30 years before I retired.
What were some of the activities that you did with Marine Patrol?
Well, back there then, of course, there was a lot more activity than what they are now. Of course, we're nowadays just 100 or so working in the Coast Guard. There's 500 or 600 or so working. And we during different seasons, we shrimping, we patrol for shrimping, scalloping, we patrol scalloping and enforce the limits and different things, and you can't swell them or you couldn't swell them. We enforce that. A lot of times we see scallops where they has actually put them in still water, and we had to take them from them. We didn't have to do that a whole lot, because once you done it that year to 1 or 2 people, the rest of them soon got words. Yeah.
What would you say your main mission or focus on patrol was?
Our main focus was to help conserve the resources, and you done that by actually patrolling different areas. I mean, everything from polluted areas to closed shrimping areas, closed scallop areas, net sizes, and so forth.
What do you love most about the job and the people that you work with?
First, all the people that you work with, the division is a small law enforcement agency. You get fairly close, especially with the ones in your district. You get real close with those, and they become not just friends, they're personal friends. And then we had the freedom of choosing the hours that we work, and in that, I mean, if it was shrimping, most of your work during the shrimp season was probably late of evening and night or early of the morning before daylight. In scallop season, you'd be over there before daylight and out of season too, and make sure that people weren't dragging their dredges before time.
Do you have a favorite memory or story?
Yeah, I do. Me and Kenneth Gaskell. Kenneth was older than I am. He retired and he passed away now. He lived at Cedar Island. We were at Cedar Island grading crabs, checking the size of them. And it had been blowing real hard that day. And they was running borderline, most of them were. I mean, there was 8, 9, 10%. You could tell they had culled them, but they had culled them so they passed the coal oil. They said one old fella come in there, and it was Kenneth's uncle now. He come in there, and I done most of the talking because I didn't want Kenneth getting any family against him, you know. I done most of the talking. Anyway, when we graded the crabs, they run 39%. I said, Callis, you ain't done much grading them crabs, have you? He said, I ain't been able to. It's been blow so hard I had to hold on with one hand and steer with the other and fish my crab pots. I don't know how he did all that with just one hand, but that's what he told me. Anyway, we gave him a citation. That part ain't the good part. This is a funny part to me, and it brings back old memories. When we went to court, Mr. Gaskell, he was the first one to testify, of course, and he got up there and the judge told him, says, Mr. Gaskell, you go ahead and tell us what happened that day. He said, Your Honor, when I come into that dock and had been out there all morning, holding on for dear life and trying to fish my crab pots, and I looked up on that dock and looked right down the barrel of 2 357 Magnums. He said that was more than I could stand. He said I couldn't stand that, so I quit. I ain't been fishing no more. He said, Mr. Kelly, you ain't been crabbing no more since then? I said, no, sir, I quit. He said, Officer Hancock, what have you got to say about this? I said, well, I can only tell you the truth. I've not seen him since then out there. He said, Mr. Gaskell, I think you've been punished enough. Go your way and sin no more. And of course, the courtroom busted right out in laughter. And I didn't like that because he was let go, but I understand the situation. And he was an old man, so weren't no harm really. But that's lingered with me all this time. And every now and then I think about it. That's one of the better moments really, because it served its purpose. He weren't going to call him, so he quit. But yet, he didn't have to pay a whole lot.
You said something about the firearms there. Now, there's a transition period. If you want to touch on that.
Of course, when I come with Marine Fisher, we didn't have any firearms then. It was just you and the public. And I don't know, I reckon I had been on, 4, 5, 6 years, somewhere in there, when we started wearing the firearms. That was kind of rough a little bit for the first 3 or 4 years. The older fellas, they resisted a whole lot. They didn't want to wear them. But us younger fellas, we put them on, wore them like we're supposed to. And you get some kind of rough talking at times when we first started about them firearms, but I learned to let it go in one ear and out the other. I didn't pay it any mind. And I never had to draw my firearms. I've been fortunate. I come close sometimes to having to draw them, but I never had to draw my firearm. Started out, the State Bureau of Investigation trained us. And I ended up in there as firearms trainer for the division. I enjoyed that, I really did. And I don't mean this bragging, but I got good enough at it that all the rest of them, what they worried about was trying to beat the old man. They never did, but they tried to. Yeah. They didn't understand how you can shoot in the night and hold your ring pattern about that big. It's very simple. You just hold it on the side of your arm, your gun right there, so you ain't gonna move. And that's the height of the target. And you face square on the target, you're gonna hit pretty close to that center. They never could figure. I tried to tell them, but evidently they couldn't figure it out.
What advice would you give to a new officer?
What advice would I give to a new officer? I don't know. Just be yourself and treat everybody like you want them to treat you as in their shoes. If you do that, you'll never go wrong. I think that's one of the most important things about the whole thing, is treating everybody the same. When I come to work, I was over in Pamlico County for 3 years. When I moved back home, I'm from Harker's Island. One of my friends, I graduated from school with him. He come to me and said, buddy, I got it made now. I ain't got to worry about getting a ticket. I said, what do you mean you ain't got to worry about getting a ticket? He said, we're too good of friends. I said, look, that friendship works both ways. If we're that good of friends, you're supposed to be too good to put me on the spot, too. He said, you mean you give me? I said, if you're in there, I ain't got no choice. I can't give somebody else a ticket and not give you a ticket. That won't work at all. He got a little upset with me, enough that he didn't speak to me for about a year, but now everything's fine. After I got over that, he realized what he had said. If a patrolman comes to you, you ain't gonna ask him to not give you a ticket because you're in Marine Fisher. I never did. I got a ticket, but I didn't get mad with him because I knew he was doing his job. That's what we're paying him to do. If I'm speeding, we're paying him to give me a ticket. If you're out there violating the fisheries laws, you're paying me to protect the industry and give you a citation.
Thank you, Mr. Woody.
Thank you, buddy. You cold in here. Your hands are cold. What's the matter with you? You got no blood?
Very little.